By 1479, the Kingdom of Hungary stood as one of Europe's last defences against the Ottoman advance. For decades, the sultans had sent raiding parties across the Danube, burning villages, stealing supplies, and carrying away captives. These attacks were meant not just to weaken Hungary, but to break its will. Yet Hungary endured, strengthened by the leadership of King Matthias Corvinus and his trusted generals. Now, with a vast Ottoman and Wallachian army pushing deep into Transylvania, Hungary would face one of its greatest tests. The battlefield was chosen near Bredfield, where the fate of an entire province, and perhaps Hungary itself, would be decided. The Ottoman force that entered Transylvania was far larger than the typical raiding parties of the past. Chroniclers speak of tens of thousands led by Ali Koka Bey and reinforced by Wallachian contingents under Basarab Leota. They came not merely to plunder, but to devastate, to break Transylvania's defences once and for all, and to show Europe that no Christian frontier was safe. Their cavalry was fast, their archers deadly, and their reputation for ferocity unmatched. The villages of Transylvania were already in flames by the time word reached Hungary's commanders. Two men rose to the challenge: Paul Knizi, the legendary strongman and loyal general of Matthias, and István Báthory, a Transylvanian noble with years of experience in war. Together, they rallied Hungary's defence. Knights from across the kingdom answered the call, joined by mercenaries hardened in Matthias's Black Army and Saxon townsfolk who knew their homes would be the first to burn if they failed. Outnumbered though they were, they prepared to fight not for conquest, but for survival. The Hungarian commanders chose their ground carefully. The wide, open plain of Bredfield gave room for cavalry manoeuvres, but also space for their disciplined infantry to hold firm against the storm they knew was coming. Knizi and Báthory positioned their men with precision. Hungarian knights in reserve, infantry in steady lines, and artillery placed where it could cause maximum damage. The soldiers knew the odds, but they also knew their leaders, and trust in Knizi's strength and Báthory's cunning gave them confidence. The Ottomans struck first. Clouds of arrows darkened the sky as horse archers wheeled across the plain, loosing shafts into the Hungarian lines. Cavalry probed the flanks, searching for weaknesses. The Wallachian allies struck with speed, harassing and cutting wherever they could. For a time, the Hungarians bent under the pressure. Infantry shields shook under arrow storms, cavalry were forced back, and Saxon militiamen wavered as the Ottoman tide pressed closer. But Hungary did not break. Knizi, towering above his men, rode along the lines, urging them to hold. His reputation for superhuman strength was no mere legend. Stories told of him wielding two swords in battle, cutting down foes with the fury of a dozen men. On that day, his presence steadied the ranks. He waited for the precise moment when the Ottoman assault had overextended, when their cavalry pressed too deep and their formations began to fray. Then he gave the order. Hungary's knights thundered forward. Armoured horsemen crashed into the Ottoman lines with the weight of iron and fury. Lances splintered, sabres flashed, and the plain shook beneath the charge. The Ottoman vanguard reeled under the impact, men and horses driven into the ground. Panic rippled through their ranks as Knizi cut his way through, striking terror wherever he rode. Behind him, Hungarian infantry surged forward, pushing the invaders back step by step. István Báthory seized the moment. Holding fresh reserves in readiness, he sent them forward to exploit the breakthrough. Transylvanian troops and Saxon levies pressed hard against the Ottoman flanks, turning what had been a contest into a collapse. A second Hungarian cavalry charge followed, even more devastating than the first. The Ottoman and Wallachian forces, confident only hours before, now found themselves overwhelmed. Their formations dissolved into chaos. By late afternoon, the battle was decided. The Ottoman army broke and fled, abandoning weapons, supplies, and captives. What had begun as a bold raid into Transylvania ended as a bloody rout. Thousands of enemy soldiers lay dead across the fields, while others were hunted down as they tried to escape. Hungarian discipline, leadership, and sheer determination had carried the day. The battle was over. Hungary had won. But this was more than a single battlefield triumph. Bradfield secured Transylvania, one of Hungary's richest and most vital provinces, for generations. It proved that even after the fall of Constantinople, the Ottomans could be stopped by determined resistance. The crushing defeat forced the empire to scale back its raids into Hungarian territory, giving the kingdom a precious measure of stability in an age of constant danger. For Hungary, the victory became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that courage and unity could stand against overwhelming odds. Legends grew from that day. Patternist, already famous, became a folk hero across Hungary. Stories spread of his incredible strength, of how he fought tirelessly through the battle and celebrated the victory by dancing on the corpses of his enemies. István Báthory too gained renown, his name forever tied to the salvation of Transylvania. For the soldiers and peasants who had fought under them, Bradfield was remembered not just as a victory, but as a moment when Hungary had stood together and triumphed. Yet questions remain. Could the Ottomans have won had their reinforcements arrived in time? Could stronger coordination with their Wallachian allies have changed the tide? Or was Hungary's careful planning, its unity under Patternist and Báthory, simply too strong to be broken? Some argue the Ottoman commanders underestimated their enemy, assuming that numbers alone would carry the day. Others believe that on this battlefield, with Hungary's leaders united and their strategy flawless, defeat was inevitable. What is certain is that the Battle of Bradfield echoed far beyond Transylvania. It was not just about one field, one victory, or one moment. It was about the survival of Hungary, the defense of Central Europe, and the struggle of a kingdom determined not to bow before empire. The plains of Bradfield bore witness to the clash of two worlds, Christian Hungary standing against the might of the Ottomans. In 1479, Hungary did not yield, and because of that, Europe was spared another Ottoman breakthrough. Like and subscribe for more historical breakdowns.